everybody, today I want to show you one of the strategies that I've used in my language learning career to learn vocab. I'm only going to show you this strategy with a smaller list than I would normally use, just because I don't want this video to last half an hour. Okay, so ideally I would take an A3 piece of paper. I have A4 because I'm going to use fewer words and because I don't have A3 paper available right now. When you've got your A3 piece of paper, what I would recommend, again, it can work with A4, you want to make columns. I can't be bothered to dig around for a ruler, so I'm just going to fold the sheet several times and the creases are going to give me columns. And the added benefit to that is that it should be roughly symmetrical, and that pleases me. So there you go. Just in case I'm doing really badly, on top of my 4 columns, I'm also going to fold my sheet this way. So now I have 8 practice areas. The more columns you have, the more practice you're going to give yourself for your vocab. Okay? Now, at the top, I'm going to write the initial of the language. Each area is 4. So we're going to start from my target language. In order to make this a little bit fair, since I'm French and I speak English pretty well, I'm going to use German as a target language. Your target language is the one you're trying to learn vocab in. Okay, so I'm going to start with German. And what I've done is I've found the higher GCSE vocab list for German. So hopefully you can see that in a sec. If I were doing the whole thing, I would pick between 3 and 7 new words or phrases to learn. Apparently you can go up to 9 according to neuroscience. Personally, I like to stop at 7. Because this is just an example, I'm going to only pick 4. So I'm looking at this vocab list and it's about what makes a good friend. I'm going to pick unterstützt mich immer. So that's going to be my first one. So I'm going to write it down here in my first box. I'm going to copy the German vocab I want to learn. Stützt mich immer. That's my first phrase. Hopefully you can see I've just written it out and I was reading it aloud to myself. And that means always supports me, but it goes supports me always. Okay, so that's the first one. Muss hilfsbereit oder ehrlich sein. I know hilfsbereit, so I'm going to focus on ehrlich. Muss ehrlich sein. Muss ehrlich sein. Must be honest. Must be honest. Okay, and then we had unterstützt mich immer. Supports me always. Always supports me. And then muss ehrlich sein, must be honest. So I'm just demonstrating again. I read them out to myself, but every time I've written a new one, I go back to the first, reread the first, translate into English, go back to the second, do that again. Talk to yourself as you go, ideally, okay? I need a third one. Darf nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein. Wow. Okay, that's a complex one. It's a long one, but also I've never seen eifersüchtig before. So I'm going to learn that one. Darf nie, what's the preposition? Auf andere Freunde, what is it? Eifersüchtig sein. Now normally I would try to tell myself a little story about how I can remember ehrlich and eifersüchtig and unterstützt, alright? I have no idea, I have no trick that comes up to mind right now about ehrlich and eifersüchtig. Except maybe süchtig. So, let's go back. Unterstützt, I remember that means support because unter means under and sup comes from the Latin word for under. So personally, that will help me. You might not know that, but you might know unter, under, and when you support something, the image could be like you put your hands under and you support, you hold it up. So that might help you. Unterstützt mich immer. Always supports me. Muss ehrlich sein. Must be honest. I have no trick for ehrlich. Ehrlich, honest. Ehrlich, honest. Ehrlich, honest. So, because I have no trick, I'm repeating it as often as I want. Darf nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein. So, must never be jealous of other friends. So I know of other friends. I know must never of other friends be. Eifersüchtig. Now, süchtig probably comes from suchen, which is seeking something. When you're jealous, I guess you seek to have the same qualities as someone else, so that makes you jealous. I'm not sure. That's going to be my technique to try and remember it. Okay, so I guess we're only going to demonstrate with 3 examples. That's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of the vocab. This is what we have. So that's my German. Unterstützt mich immer, muss ehrlich sein, darf nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein. So I've done that. My second column will be E for English, and my first job now is to put the German into English. Let's do this. Unterstützt mich immer. That means always supports me. Muss ehrlich sein. Must be honest. Darf nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein. Must never be jealous of other friends. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to my vocab list and check my answers. So, unterstützt mich immer is always supports me. So because that's correct, I'm going to tick with a color I like. Muss ehrlich sein is indeed must be honest. Tick with a color I like. And darf nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein is indeed, oh, it's may never be jealous of other friends. So now I'm taking a color I don't appreciate so much, and I'm just going to use that to correct my answer. May never be jealous of other friends. Okay, you can see I've got 2 turquoise ticks and 1 orange correction, which gives me a total score of 2 out of 3. I'm not giving myself half marks, it's all or nothing. Alright? So, now that I've done that, we're going to hide the German by folding my sheet up this way. Now I've got the English, and I have to go back to German. So I'm now working on translating from my first language, if I were you, obviously for me it's my second, into my target language either way. So you translate from your source language to your target language. So always supports me. Now I know the words, but what order is it in? And don't hesitate to talk to yourself as you go. So I know this always is immer, but it was at the end. Support had to do with under, so that was unter. And then it was a funny one to say unterstützt. I remember checking for this ending because I wondered, is it T-U-T-Z-T? And I thought that's a lot of consonants. There's even R-S. Oh my god, look at that. So I remember that struck me when I made my first notes. Unterstützt mich immer. We'll check later. Must be honest. So must is muss. I know that the be sein goes at the end, and honest was ehrlich, if I remember right. Muss ehrlich sein, and may never be jealous of other friends. Now, I think that was muss nie auf anderen. Is it anderen or andere? I think it's andere. Muss nie auf andere Freunde. Is it eifer or eifern? Eifersüchtig, eifersüchtig, that's annoying. I know it's süchtig. Sein. Eifersüchtig or eifernsüchtig? Whichever one. Alright, I've already put an R here, so I'm just going to put an N here. Let's see if it pans out. I'm not sure. I think it's eifernsüchtig. I think. Now I'm going to change color and unfold and check. And it was wrong! No! So, unterstützt mich immer, correct. Muss ehrlich sein, correct. And muss nie, and it was an R. So, that's annoying. So that's still 2 out of 3. And what I'm going to do before I move on is I'm going to write eifersüchtig. several times. So one here, I'm going to write it 7 times. Eifersüchtig, and then eifersüchtig. I'm doing it in the color I don't like as well, so that I can really, hopefully, avoid the mistake, just so I don't see that color. Eifersüchtig, and that's 7 times. Okay? So what I'm now going to do is simply go back over the English to German side. And that's it. So I'm going to, under here, rewrite the English. I won't do it in the video, but this is what I would do. So I'll rewrite the English, then I'll retranslate into German, check my answers. If I get it all right, I'll be happy. If I don't, I won't be happy. I'll do that outside of the video time, and I'll show you my results at the end, alright? And then we'll see how it goes. Hello, it's me, I'm back. I finished the vocab learning activity, so if you remember, we had this. My pens are rolling. So we have this. So we had the first task here where I copied my vocab in my target language, and then I did my first attempt at translation into English, and then corrected it, marked it myself, used the color I like for the ticks and the answers I got right, and then the color I didn't like for the answers I got wrong, put a total score. Then I hid my German, and I had to go from my first language to my target language here, and again then I marked, so I got 2 right, and then I got this one wrong, and it was a spelling mistake, so I corrected it here in bold orange, which I didn't like. And then I also copied the word I got wrong properly 7 times, like so. There are other tricks for spelling, which I will show you in other videos, but this is what I decided to do today. I focused on this. I also told myself in my head there was already an R for ehrlich, and also in my head I was like, it's quite ironic that my name has 2 R's and I didn't put the R in the right place in this word. Like my last name has 2 R's, so there you go. And this is my other go, which I did without filming it, but you can trust I did it properly. So I had the English, the first attempt at translating into German, 3 out of 3. I can't point at the right place, but I was really happy. I marked in my color that I like, and I was like, yeah, it's all good. And then I folded down my English to have a last try at translating from German to English. Got 3 out of 3. I'm very happy. Now, this was only 3 phrases, so it wasn't that big a deal. Normally I would have done 7 in one go. And then the other thing is, you have a more or less good working memory, and I know personally my working memory is pretty decent because I keep practicing it and using it every day. Like when I go shopping, I don't make a list, I don't write a list, I learn my list by heart. So I work on my list at home, and then I organize it into a chant or a rhyme, and then I count things on my fingers, and I just basically make sure every time I get a chance to learn something by heart, to work my working memory, I do it. So I know my working memory is good. That's brilliant, right? No, it isn't. Because when you learn vocab like this, you might go, yeah, I know this. And maybe tomorrow I will have forgotten. So the next part of this, what we're going to do is tomorrow, around the same time as today, probably, or a bit earlier, I will take the same vocab list and test myself again and see if actually I remember it overnight or not. That will be an interesting thing to do, so you need to do the same. Once you feel like you know your vocab, leave it aside for a bit and then go back over it, and you will probably find there are some things you thought you remembered that haven't been processed into your long-term memory. So it's really important to space out your revision and your learning. And therefore, what I'm going to do now is prep my test for tomorrow, basically. And tomorrow I'll test myself. Now, what I struggled with the most was writing the German down. So I'm going to test myself tomorrow by having all the English, and then I'll have to write it down in German. If I had today struggled more with translating into English, then tomorrow I would write down the German and have to translate into English. So you need to adapt what you're doing based on what you found difficult and what you found easy.
Hi, I just got home and I was thinking back through the day, trying to read a book, and I can't focus. And I randomly thought about that German vocab. So another thing I tend to do when I'm learning vocab is at a random point in time later on, I just try and go through what I've learned and what I struggled with more in particular. So I know that I struggled with Luma. What are you doing? This is the cat. I know I struggled with the word jealous, which was eifersüchtig with an R, not an N. And then the other big new word was ehrlich for honest. And then the three statements we had, I can't remember the first one now. I know there were three. So we had muss ehrlich sein, must be honest. Muss nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein, may never be jealous of other friends. What was the first one? Wow, so that's another typical thing. Typically, when there is one item you find super easy the first time around, you don't focus on it too much, and then you forget. And that's what I've literally just done. I got the first one out of the three right all the time this afternoon. It's now 2 hours after that session, and I cannot for the life of me remember either the English or the German first phrase. Hopefully when I see the English tomorrow, I'll remember the German. So yeah, that's another example. When I was learning, it wasn't for languages, I was learning horse anatomy vocab. And there was one part that was really difficult. In French, it was l'apophyse zygomatique, which is the cheekbone. But in French, it's called apophyse zygomatique for a horse. And we thought we would never remember how to spell it or say it. And the teacher said, I promise you that's going to be the one that you do not get wrong, because it's so complicated, you're going to freak and spend ages on it, and then you will never forget, but then you'll forget simple ones. And we didn't believe him, and he was right. And so right now, you probably wouldn't have believed me if I told you earlier, the easy ones are the ones you'll tend to forget, and the complicated ones that you fight with, you remember. Case in point, I can't remember the first one. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow when I'm testing myself. Fingers crossed. Have a nice evening, afternoon. I don't know why I'm saying that, because the video is going to carry on. I'm going to edit this together. It's all going to come together. So yeah, bye. Me again. I've just come back from the yard, hence the different clothes. And it's still day one of learning that vocab. And on my way home, as I was parking the car, I randomly saw a bin outside. And I thought, oh yeah, tomorrow's Friday. So is it bin day? And I went, no, it's not bin day. But what it used to be is Latin club day back in the old days. And so that reminded me of earlier this afternoon, I was actually using Latin to help me remember the first German phrase. And I was like, okay, so I know I used Latin. What did I use Latin for? And then I remember it was because there was something to do with support in the English version, and sub is Latin for under, which then reminded me of the German unter, and then I now remember the first phrase was unterstützt mich immer, always supports me. So I'm happy with that. And this also demonstrates to you why I think it's quite useful and important to tell yourself little stories as you practice and revise your vocab. So if anything goes through your mind, you're like, oh, this reminds me of that, or oh, I think it's that in any language, or oh, blah, blah. Tell yourself that story, because then that can help you retrieve information later. So I'm well excited because I now know my 3 German phrases, and I can feed my cat, get changed, and do my yoga with a clear mind, and then get ready for French equine science Skype later. So that's all good stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video. Bye.
Okay, day 2 of vocab learning, as it says. So yesterday I set up this test paper, and today we'll see if I remember the 3 phrases that I was trying to learn yesterday in German. So the German will be in turquoise. Always supports me. Unterstützt mich immer. Must be honest. Muss ehrlich sein. Must never be jealous of other friends. Muss nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig eifersüchtig sein. Let's now see if I got it right. Let's check. Let me find my answer sheet. There it is. Unterstützt mich immer. Yep. Muss ehrlich sein. Yep. Muss nie auf andere Freunde eifersüchtig sein. Yes! I got it! I got it! I got it! 3 out of 3. Now, what happened was on day 0, hopefully this type of thing helps. This is just one of the ways that I've learned vocab when I was at school. Let me know if this is the kind of tips that you want to hear more about, and I shall see you in another video. Bye!